The following episode of the Kingdom of Isolation contains footage from the film being discussed. The footage is used solely for the purposes of education, commentary, and criticism under fair use. Please support the animators by watching this film on Disney Plus or home media where available. This episode also contains spoilers throughout.
Hello, my fellow Disney fans, and welcome to the Kingdom of Isolation, where in times of trouble, why not celebrate the magic of Disney? And today, we're continuing our run through the direct-to-video sequels from Disney Toon Studios. Today, we're returning to a story that began with grief, transformation, and the power of brotherhood, Brother Bear. And its often ignored follow-up, Brother Bear 2, which released direct-to-DVD in 2006. Now, in the original Brother Bear, we followed Kenai, who was a young man whose rage and heartbreak sent him on a collision course with the spirits, only to be transformed into the very creature he once feared. Alongside the endlessly energetic Coda, Kenai learns compassion, forgiveness, and what it truly means to be part of a family. It was a mythical journey rooted with emotional weight, stunning visuals, and one of Disney's most quietly profound messages. But today, we take the trail that few travelers follow. Because Brother Bear 2 picks up after that transformation, only this time, the wilderness comes with complications. Kenai's life as a bear is suddenly disrupted by the reappearance of Nita, a childhood friend whose connection to him was written in the spirits long before he had his fur. Meanwhile, Coda is left wondering why his big brother is acting strange. The Moose brothers are still philosophizing badly, and the spirits seem determined to stir up old feelings in new forms. Is this sequel a worthy continuation of Kenai's journey? A misunderstood chapter overshadowed by its predecessor? Or a lighter, quirkier epilogue that deserves more love than it gets? The end of an era was on the horizon at this point, as by this point, Disney had bought Pixar, John Lasseter was in charge of Walt Disney Animation Studios, and had scrapped any planned direct-to-video sequels. But those that were still in production were allowed to be completed. An example of this was the closure of the Disney Toons studio in Australia in mid-2006, around the same time this film was coming out. The first 2 nails in the coffin were firmly nailed in by this point. Actually, make that 3. Disney buying Pixar, John Lasseter in charge, the closure of the studios, and the direct-to-video sequels being scrapped. Actually, that's 4 nails. And although a new logo was introduced a month prior in Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, Brother Bear 2 still uses the original logo with the blue background, which still applied to direct-to-video films up until Fox and the Hound 2, released later the same year. The original plan for the movie was for Rut and Took to be the main characters without any appearance from Kenai or Coda. But that idea, thankfully, was vetoed. Yeah, good, because you're learning that having comedy sidekicks as the main characters doesn't always work. Jeremy Suarez, Dave Thomas, Rick Moranis, and Michael Clark Duncan are the only actors who reprised their roles for this film. Joaquin Phoenix, who had voiced Kenai in the first Brother Bear, did not reprise his role due to several scheduling conflicts with films that were able to release in theaters at the time, and was replaced by Patrick Dempsey. Dennehy was originally going to make an appearance in this sequel, but because Jason Reyes, the actor who voiced Dennehy in the first film, had tragically taken his own life in Australia, this resulted in his absence for the sequel, out of his voice actor's respect. In addition to Denahi, no other human characters from the first film are seen nor mentioned, although Sitka's spirit form does have a cameo. So grab your amulets, prepare your spirit guides, and settle into the pines. So we travel through the Great North with Kenai and Coda with the first song written for the film, Welcome to This Day, written and performed by Melissa Etheridge. And okay, look, you've already got my attention here. I was tapping my foot to this, and that's when you know you're off to a good start with the soundtrack. And on the subject of the soundtrack, Matthew Gerard, Robbie Neville, and Dave Metzger, the latter of these three composing for his last Disney Toon Studios film before the studio closed altogether on June 28th, 2018. Patrick Dempsey takes over for voicing Kenai this time around, best known for Grey's Anatomy, and would go on to be in Enchanted the following year in 2007, and its sequel Disenchanted in 2022. And Ferrari, alongside Adam Driver, the following year in 2023. He's also made appearances in Phineas and Ferb, the Scream franchise, and in Sweet Home Alabama under one of Disney's subsidiaries, Touchstone Pictures, including The Nightmare Before Christmas, the first ever Christmas special in The Kingdom of Isolation, which you can find in the top right of your screens, since we're now officially into December. I have 237 films from Touchstone Pictures to cover, as well as a further 85 films from Hollywood Pictures, another one of Disney's subsidiaries. That's 321 films. Now that I've got Nightmare Before Christmas out of the equation. So I've got 321 films left to cover, just from these two studios alone. So rest assured, we ain't gonna be short on films to cover anytime soon. But still, that's gonna take at least a few years to cover. And that's on top of doing the Marvel film, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the rest of the Marvel films that are not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've also got the live action remakes, I've got the Star Wars films, I've got the Indiana Jones films to do. I'm gonna be busy. I am definitely gonna have fun getting through those two studios alone. Now, Noel Cleary was the supervising animator for Kenai, and similar to Joaquin Phoenix, Kenai is Patrick Dempsey's only voice acting role to date. Coda is voiced again by Jeremy Suarez, who had already gone through puberty by the time this film had come out. Adam Murphy is Coda's supervising animator this time around, with Andrew Collins and Peter Lemurs both being uncredited, according to IMDb. We're also, regrettably, reunited with the Moose, Rut and Took, voiced again by Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, with Michael Badman as the supervising animator for those two. This film was Rick's last acting role until he came out of retirement to star in Shrunk, which I can only assume is part of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise? I don't know. Just as Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas were alumni for SCTV and emulated their most famous characters, Bob and Doug McKenzie as Rut and Took, their characters' girlfriends, Anda and Kata, are played by Andrea Martin and Catherine O'Hara, respectively. Now, Catherine is no stranger to Kingdom of Isolation because we've seen her previously in the first two Home Alone films, and she's made an appearance for Pixar in Elemental as well. And I'm fairly confident we'll hear her voice again when we cover the DreamWorks films starting in 2026 with DreamWorks Diaries.
Well, it's that time of year, eh?
Spring fever.
Spring what?
Yeah, you know, like the birds.
Yeah, and the bees.
And the moosettes.
Their so-called girlfriend charges back at them while Kenai and Coda slide down the snow, going past Tug, voiced again by the late Michael Clark Duncan.
That's right. Kenai and Coda. We don't need anybody else.
Okay, but you can't run from love.
Yeah, not so subtle foreshadowing for later. Kenai and Coda aim to get to Crowberry Ridge before all the other bears. And this is one of those rare cases of recasting not quite working, as there is a clear difference between Joaquin and Patrick. You'd think they'd get someone who's as close to the original voice as possible. We get a dream with a beautiful golden hue, with a young Nita and Kenai playing together, which is so wholesome to see, only for Nita to fall into the water through the ice. Thankfully, both youngsters are okay, and Kenai gives Nita his amulet before she draws.
We're always gonna be best friends, huh?
Oh, she draws them both on the wall. That is really sweet. Wonder if that will come into play later. We didn't get the
Aurora Borealis,
which still look amazing, no matter what form of filmmaking they take. The kids get to see the great spirits, and the music is so beautiful in this moment. Sometimes I could easily mistake. This is something I could easily mistake for being part of the Ori games. Now let's meet Nita, now all grown up and voiced by Rapunzel herself, Mandy Moore. Last seen in Ralph Breaks the Internet. And she also has Leanne Hughes as her supervising animator. Zoe Deschanel, Hilary Duff, and Jessica Simpson were all considered for this role. Nita is the only character in the Brother Bear films able to communicate with animals while still a human, having been given that power after learning that Kenai is a bear. Nita's groom is at her village for their wedding, and in classic pre-wedding chaos, bleh, this happens.
I love seashells.
I don't know about fashion anyway.
Hey! I do believe I am feeling a bit hungry.
Two people with contrasting perspectives on how to help her. Haven't seen that before. The outfit she chooses happens to be the dress her dad's wife wore on their wedding day, which I think is a really sweet touch. She's about to marry Attica, only for the amulet we saw earlier to come into play, as severing all ties with Kenai is the only way she'll be able to marry Attica. Something tells me this is an arranged wedding, and we all know how well that's worked out previously. Looking at you, Mulan 2.
You are the wisest shaman.
Shawoman, okay? Wise and man don't even belong in the same sentence.
Oh, if only Disney knew the dangerous can of worms they'd open if this was made today. Inoko is a bit overdramatic, shall we say. She is voiced by Wanda Sykes, hence why her voice is so distinguishable. Now, Wanda would also be in Over the Hedge that same year. And there is another character to bring up that involves Nita, and that's her father. Chilkoot, voiced by...
Guess who? Guess who? It's him again!
Disney legend Jim Cummings! Just one small problem. How will Nita communicate with Kenai?
Don't be afraid, it's in there.
Back with the bears, they find some roots to eat until Coda senses some danger. Turns out it's only Nita. Next stop for them is Hokani Falls to burn the silly little trinkets. Kenai's words, not mine.
You know, neither of us can get on with our lives until we burn this amulet.
I'll take my chances.
Now that's just rude. She was your childhood friend, for crying out loud. Kenai reluctantly helps Nita and the moose join them after they find a pair of female moose. The dialogue here is just... why? Kenai delays getting camp set up to deliver some romantic advice. Oh, goody. Acts of bravery. Good lord, this writing is worse than cringe. Thanks, Rich Burns, for giving us such a terrible script. There are certain films that just do not need sequels or remakes, and this is one of them. And also, basically, every Disney live-action remake that has ever been made. or is about to be made. Even the female moose are not impressed. Case and point. Once again, this is useless Canadian levels of IQ, which is 0. How many episodes is that now that I've brought up F1's useless Canadian? Oh, 14, including this one. And it will not be the last. That I can guarantee. Nita gets a flashback to falling into the water, causing her bike to go over the waterfall. Yeah, nice going, genius. A raccoon now has the amulet.
You're the one who destroyed an entire beaver dam.
Well, I wouldn't have destroyed it if you hadn't gotten your head stuck in it.
And I'm not the one who had the bag in reach and then let it float away. My head was stuck. What's your excuse?
Yeah, what's yours, Kenai? Wait, scratch that. You don't have an excuse. Seriously, how do you mess up something so simple, so badly? You'd expect something like that from Ferrari. So the next morning comes and they find the raccoon's hideout. So Nita's no longer angry at him for what happened yesterday. That was quick. I know they usually say, oh, just sleep on it and work things out in the morning, yada, yada, yada. But this is way too quick to be ignoring what happened yesterday. Nita climbs the tree to get the amulet back from the raccoon, who sounds way too similar to the useless comedian. It turns out it's Disney legend Jim Cummings voicing him as well. Word of advice: please don't make yourself sound like the useless comedian again. Please. Turns out there's a whole army of raccoons with pine cones, and Nita gets the amulet off the baby raccoon, and a chase ensues. They manage to escape, only for the boys to find the moose again, and they use something that clearly isn't dirt. This is probably one of those cases of they took a bit of inspiration from, oh no, wait a minute, DBZ Abridged wouldn't have been around at the time, would it? But either way, Rut and Took have basically taken inspiration from DBZ Abridged. I think before DBZ Abridged was a thing. Anyway, they have gone through the pecking order where it goes you, then the dirt, then the worms inside of the dirt, then Popo's stool, then Commie, and then Popo. Anybody got any questions?
Enjoy the climb back up.
Bye, Krillin. One of Nita's aunts, by the way, is voiced by Wendy Malick, who was last seen in Kronk's New Groove just a couple of episodes ago. Nita helps the moose court the female moose, and then more dissension. Yay! Yay! Nita wants to go one way, and the boys want to go another. She falls in the river, and the boys make fun of her being supposedly scared of fish. Really mature, guys. Really mature.
Ever since that day I fell through the ice when we were kids.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Nita, that's not your fault. That's your childhood trauma speaking. It was the boys' fault because they were the ones that were too ignorant to take your fear of water into consideration. Now, on to the next song, which has hints of Look Through My Eyes here. Feels Like Home, with Melissa duetting with Josh Kelly. The songs are one of the rare pluses about this film.
It's the only way. Let me help you.
Kenai then helps Nita over the river, and the way the sun rays shine through the water look beautiful as well. Something else I can't stand about Bruce is that they don't even bother trying to learn the names of the bears. Coda makes it across the river to find that he feels Kenai doesn't need him anymore.
Do you ever miss being human?
Oh boy, this is going to end well. Kenai has thought about changing back, leaving Coda heartbroken, running away, leaving only his paw prints in the snow. Nita finds the paw prints in the ice, and then finds Coda, causing the ice to start falling around them. And thankfully they both get out, but they end up causing an avalanche, burying them both under the snow. Kenai then manages to find them, and both are okay. Our trio are now stuck in the snow, while the moose are looking at the
Aurora Borealis.
Nita and the bears head back to where she and Kenai were together as kids, giving us some stunning visuals of the equinox, telling us spring has arrived, meaning there isn't much time left to burn the amulet. Nita does end up burning the amulet, meaning that she can no longer understand Coda or Kenai, saying goodbye to them before heading back to the village, all while the last song of the film plays. And no, reprises don't count. I have had this rule, and I am sticking by it. It will be me, which it is tough to listen to. Nita starts preparing for her wedding to Attica, and that night we get the lights again, which I really want to see in person one day. I want to be able to see those northern lights one day. Coda sacrifices being with Kenai so Kenai can be human again, allowing him to be with Nita, which is a rare piece of mature character development from someone so young. The moose make Kenai aware that Coda is heading back to the village to get Nita back, and Kenai heads back to the village, realizing the danger Coda's going to be in. Kenai then makes it into the village and protects Coda, and the moose somehow come in to save the day. Somehow. Everyone's after Kenai now, while the music ramps up, and it's not very easy to listen to, especially with how tense this whole sequence is. Attica knocks Kenai off the cliff and into the water below. The spirits decide to intervene and turn Kenai back into a human, or at least try to start the transformation. Coda explains that he just wants Kenai to be happy again.
You are my daughter, and I will love you no matter what you choose.
Anyone else feel that Jim Cummings' voice here sounds very similar to the chief in Pocahontas? Nita decides to become a bear with a stunning new variant of the transformation theme playing. A new wedding takes place with Kenai marrying Nita with a reprise of Welcome to This Day, joined again by Josh. Everyone's there to celebrate the occasion as the drawing that Nita made as a kid is transformed by the spirits from kids into bears. This for me is a pretty mixed bag. It has its highs, it has its lows. Time for the scores. The story I'm going to give a 6. While the narrative does have its moments of emotional resonance, particularly with Coda's sacrifice and the mature themes explored, it's let down by some muddled pacing and uneven character development. The plot, though engaging at certain points, struggles to fully capitalize on its potential, leaving the overall experience feeling a bit mixed. Ultimately, it's enjoyable, but not outstanding. The characters, I'm going to give a 7. The characters in the film stand out as one of its stronger elements. Kenai's journey is nuanced with genuine growth and emotional complexity, while Coda brings warmth and innocence, making his sacrifice all the more poignant. Nita's role adds depth and a fresh perspective, and even the supporting cast, such as the Moose, even though I've been critical of them, provide some comic relief that balances the heavier moments. Despite a few underdeveloped side characters, the main trio's interactions and developments elevate the story considerably. The visuals, 7.5. The film truly shines in its visual presentation, delivering breathtaking landscapes and striking use of color, particularly during scenes featuring the Aurora Borealis and the equinox. Transformation sequences are imaginative and beautifully animated, capturing the magical essence of the story. While not every moment is visually groundbreaking, the overall artistry and attention to detail elevate the experience, making it a feast for the eyes and one of the film's most memorable aspects. On the subject, the soundtrack gets a 9. The soundtrack is undoubtedly one of the film's strongest assets, weaving emotion and atmosphere seamlessly throughout the narrative. The score beautifully complements both the poignant and triumphant moments, with standout tracks like It Will Be Me and reprises of Welcome to This Day, leaving a lasting impression. The music enhances the storytelling, heightening the impact of key scenes, providing a rich, immersive backdrop that lingers long after the credits roll, and for these reasons, the soundtrack earns a high score, truly elevating the overall viewing experience. And finally, we get to The Legacy. And it gets only a 3. Despite earning an Annie Award nomination for Best Writing, which it ultimately lost to Flushed Away, and holding a modest 50% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, the film struggles to leave a lasting impression compared to its predecessor. While it has its moments, it doesn't quite achieve the memorable status of the original, resulting in a fairly average legacy overall. So the score is a 65%. This film offers a mixed experience overall. The story has emotional highlights, especially around Coda's sacrifice, but suffers from uneven pacing and character development. The main characters, particularly Keen-Eye, Coda, and Nita, are well realized and engaging, although some side characters lack depth. Visually, the film is impressive, boasting stunning landscapes and vivid colors that capture the magical atmosphere. The soundtrack stands out as a major strength, enhancing the emotional impact and complementing the narrative beautifully. However, despite award nominations and moments of brilliance, the film's legacy remains modest, struggling to match the lasting influence of its predecessor. And honestly, I'm struggling to justify recommending this. I would just stick with the original, personally. Scoreboard-wise, it falls just below Pooh's Heffalump Movie, Kronk's New Groove, and Seasons of Giving. And so it begins. One film down, another 18 to go throughout December. So, better start cracking with the next episode now. So, that being said, hope you enjoyed this episode of The Kingdom of Isolation looking at Brother Bear 2. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. And if you want to be part of The Kingdom of Isolation yourself, you can hit the subscribe button down at the bottom, click the bell, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when an episode goes live on this channel. I also have a passes page where you can see uncut episodes of The Kingdom of Isolation, plus the return of the movie soundtracks for 2026, including the DreamWorks Diaries as well. So the next episode, I am, for lack of a better term, I am dreading this one, for lack of a better term, because this one,
The Fox and the Hound 2.
And I've not heard many good things about it, if any at all. But until then, make each moment count, and I'll see you guys next time in The Kingdom of Isolation.